Welcome to Santaquin City Regular Council Meeting. It's the 6th of June 2023, and we're ready to begin. We want to start by the roll call, and the roll call will be, we've excused Councilman Lynn Meekum. He had some other things that he needed to do tonight. Other than that, we're all here. And thank you for listening in, being here, and we're ready to begin. So I would like to ask if anyone would like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I can do it, Mayor.
Thanks.
Please stand. Please repeat the Pledge of Allegiance with me. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jason. I'd like to ask if anyone would like to offer an invocation or an inspirational thought.
Mayor, I'd like to do something a little different this evening. Today is June the 6th. It's the 79th anniversary of the landing on Normandy beaches. We had 160,000 Allied troops involved in that landing. Almost 10,000 died. I don't know if this is a spiritual thought or not, but I think we need to recognize, you know, my interest, the price that was paid. As I said at the Memorial Day program that we just had, freedom isn't free.
Thank you. In my business life, I was able to go to Western France many times, and I walked those hallowed grounds 14 times, and it wasn't enough. I would do it again, and it is, as you say, an ultimate experience for an ultimate price that was paid. So thank you, Art.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Are there any conflicts or anything that we need to discuss tonight? Anyone aware of? I have no conflicts. I just want to dig, I guess.
It's not a conflict of interest, but my daughter that wants to build here says that I can't approve the fee schedule increase. I will, but it will be at a price.
Okay. So what we're going to talk about is the consented agenda minutes, and then we'll talk about the bills. And right after that, we'll go into a resolution for the surplus property. And actually, I'd like to just, as it says, put those on the consent agenda. So did everybody have a chance to read May 5th, 16th City Council work session? Any questions that are left there? They in good order for you? Anything you want to add? City Council meeting that night, an hour later. Are there any changes or additions that you need to see to be made? And we just remind everybody those are online, so everything is sitting there. The bills for this month actually goes from the 13th of May till the 2nd of June. And the city expenditures in that time frame totaled $1,085,178 and change. That's a lot of money. Did you look through those items? Is there anything that stood out or any questions you might have had? You had a chance to review them. You're good? Okay. Finally, there's surplus property. There are the uppers of the AR-15s. And there's a discussion that the police department really needs to surplus those. You don't just surplus firearms to anybody and everybody. And so that it's out, those are going to a federal firearms dealer that will take the whole bunch. and they will deal with them in a federally mandated way. So, any questions with that? We had information given to us. It's all pretty spelled out. Good to go? Then I would entertain a motion to accept that consent agenda, those 4 items.
So moved.
Had a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Councilman Adcock.
Aye.
Councilman Sitaway.
Aye.
Councilman Hathaway.
Aye.
Councilmember Montoya.
Aye.
So the motion passes, and we'll move on to the public forum and the bid openings and awards and appointments. So they will go as this. Tonight, we would like to have a chance to roast Shad.
Recognize, Mayor.
Oh, recognize.
I'll go with the first.
I hardly recognize him because he's always in a machine playing. But it's a pleasure to have you tonight, to have a chance to go through this. And I know Norm is going to read everything about it, but I just want to say there is a tireless effort that you have put forth beyond when you were asked or given this certificate, this Employee of the Month, and that is the way in which you have conducted yourself and worked with the flooding that's gone on. I saw with my own eyes, and this is how I want to start it, a non-farmer in a non-farming vehicle taking water turns all around this city. and you're a magician on the excavator, as well as noted as a very good, hard, dedicated worker. And just to start it off, thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
And I turn the time over to Norm.
The only problem with that is asphalt doesn't grow much, so we got to quit watering the asphalt. No, I'm just kidding.
He was trying to find gravel.
We were just trying to find it and put it anywhere.
Remember, this is the recognition that a roast.
Right. Our June Employee of the Month is Shad Eva. Shad has been with Santaquin City since 2014, which, by the way, is about the same time that I started. He and I started about the same time, so I'm in good company. I'm not sure about he. He's our streets and stormwater supervisor. When asked what he enjoys about his job, he stated, "I like the diversity of the job. And I promise that there's been more diversity this year than any other year." Diversity meaning you didn't know where you were going to go or what you had to fix when you showed up. Well, that's good. It's great getting to do something different every day. I also realize I really appreciate the other guys that I work with. This is him talking about his staff. Jason Calloway, the Public Works Director, shared, "Shad has been doing a great job along with his crew at preparing for this year's water situation," remembering that this was written about a month and a half ago before we were knee deep in the water. This year's high water situation. He has been in constant communication with me and with Summit Creek Irrigation Company on the many preparations required for us to be prepared this spring. He is very knowledgeable in many areas that fall under Public Works. Shad has been very helpful in keeping up the street maintenance and making sure our roads are the very best that they can be with the funds that we have allotted. He has worked well with his crew to make sure tasks are completed safely and on time, and he makes it a point to be available no matter the time, day or night on the call. And I can attest to that, and so can the mayor. We've all been out there at 10 o'clock at night and 5 o'clock in the morning and noon and just about any other hour. So thank you for that, Shad. Jason concludes, "I have had the opportunity to watch Shad grow into a leadership role over the years. I look forward to watching him grow even more as our city expands. Shad was born and raised in Santaquin. He is married to his sweetheart, Camby, and they are raising 2 boys, their 2 young boys, Axton and Creed, in Goshen. He enjoys hunting, fishing, and anything outdoors in his free time. Thank you, Shad, for your dedicated service to Santaquin City. You are an outstanding employee and an asset to our Public Works Department." So thank you.
Speech.
If you'd like to say anything, you can. Otherwise, we'll just come up and take a picture with you, if that's okay.
I don't, yeah, let's do it then.
A man of few words. Come on up, guys.
Can they have a treat?
look just like Jim.
Yeah.
I think.
Do you want a treat?
Thank you.
Wait a minute. Who's gonna hold this?
Do you want a treat, buddy?
Can you hold it?
There you go. That's a big one. There you go, dude.
Remember this, Michael. You are the-
All right, forgive him.
Yeah.
There you go.
I gotta give kudos to Emily. Instead of a basket, a good,
Come up
good
here.
cooler for camping was a great substitute.
Only you would enjoy that.
Yeah.
Everybody smile.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay.
You take one, two, three.
Thanks, you guys, for coming.
Thank you.
Good job, big guy. Hey, thanks.
Thanks for all you do.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Oh,
Thanks, Ed.
I really want to take care of this, and I have to sit here because it's kind of recorded. 2 years ago at this time, there were a few of us that signed up to run for council, and there were some that I did not know at all, and they've grown to be good friends, and we work together and have a chance. During that time frame, Nikki McNiff was one of those that vied for a council seat. Unfortunately, she didn't win. That happens. But she had a desire to serve this city and has done so as part of the Planning Commission and has done so very faithfully. Some things have changed in her life, and it has come time for her to focus a little more on her family, as she stated. But we wanted you to know, we don't always do this when some people disappear off of councils or whatever, but we wanted to make sure you knew that we were grateful for the service that you've given this city. We know that your heart was out there and for everyone to view during the running for office, as well as being a part of this noble crew that sometimes you wonder where the nobility goes because you're working your butt off trying to help make everything work. But more than anything, Nikki, you have shown a service to this city, and not everybody can say that, you know, and there's only so many slots that are available. But we as a council and the staff would like to thank you very much for the time that you've spent and the service that you have rendered. Thank you so much. Okay.
That was it too. Oh, yeah. That's a good thing. We just. No one wants me to get a picture.
Sure. There we go.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Thanks,
Thanks, Nikki.
Thanks,
Thank
Nikki.
you.
Thank you, Nikki.
Now I'll go home and cry.
Occasionally you appoint people to positions, or you sometimes throw your own life out there to see how it's going to turn out on a council or whatever. But over the last few months, I've had some fun experiences just meeting with and talking to the Mokes and getting to know them a little bit. I love their hamburgers over at in Payson, and I just won't mention any more than that. But they are a part of a very good family franchise. Can I say it that way?
Sure.
It's a family franchise. It's nothing else.
It's not a franchise, but it is a family franchise.
Yes. you know, I've met with them and talked about a lot of things besides why do you have a business in Payson when we really want you here? And, you know, there's only so far that people can go, and I have to admit that. But in getting to know them, we even talked one day about the possibility of serving this city and things that LaDonna said she could or would be interested in. As a result of that, some thinking, some understanding, some passing information back and forth between us, I want to present LaDon Mock as a new member of the Planning Commission. And that would require that we would make that appointment with a vote tonight and also have a chance to have her sworn in and then put her to work. This is a lady whom I feel doesn't look at it as a challenge, but as an opportunity to be there to learn for herself and to give back to a community. And the first time I met them, they were grateful. We met in January over at the Chamber of Commerce meal, and it was fun to just get a brief introduction and a chat. And they came to my table afterwards to, hey, we need to talk. And we have talked a little, and good family. And more than anything, I think this is a very good replacement and a way to move forward. So with that, I would like to present LaDon Moak as new planning commissioner. Are there any
Shall we
questions?
have her step to the microphone and share anything?
Do you want to?
Answer any questions that?
I don't know how you can share, but I'll answer questions.
You don't know how to share questions?
This is not an interrogation,
I
just so you know.
have ways you can do that, but go ahead.
No, it's not.
I mean, like, am I supposed to ask questions?
No.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself because
Um,
I don't know that I've met you.
So, all about me. I grew up in Missouri. I'm a Missouri girl. Both my grandparents had farms. I love farmland, and we moved out to Utah in 2018. We didn't know we were getting into Chevy's when we did. We actually thought we were moving out here for school, and then Chevy's ended up working out for us, and the family franchise worked for us, and we love it. And we moved. They offered us the Payson store, and so we moved to Santaquin, and we've loved it. Just a couple months after moving here, I was like, this feels like home. This is the most like Missouri that I have felt at home in Utah. So
Minus the humidity.
minus the humidity. That's the bad part of Missouri. So I say to my husband, this is the best of both worlds. Because, we got the Nebo Loop, that we've got the fall colors in the fall, and that's the part I miss the most in Missouri. But we got the farmland out here-ish. It's not Missouri farm, but it's more farm than in American Fork where we were before. So, but yeah, like I said, we've got our business in Payson, and we love both Payson and Santaquin community, and just love. I mean, we've done a lot in Payson. We've done a little bit here in Santaquin, and in January when we went to Mayor Olson, we were like, we want to be part of the Santaquin community too. So I feel very honored that you would ask me to be on the committee. Very humbling. But we have 4 kids. Our oldest is 12. Our youngest is 6. We are busy running a business with kids, but I've wanted to be part of the community, and I mean, I thought about running for city council, but it's not. You guys go through a lot. So. That's what I told Mayor Olson. I'm like, I don't think I could do city council right now. It's a lot. You guys do a lot for the community, and there are people that see it. So I appreciate your work. But.
Well, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
And I can say, it is a lot. But I can also say about how important it is to have a female voice and a female perspective on council making decisions. And so I wouldn't mind at all if you accept the appointment and spend the rest of the year on planning commission learning, but still sign up tomorrow to run.
Oh.
And if you're not ready, encourage your friends, because we need women. We need women. As they say, real women run.
Yes.
So we need women to be in elected office and share their voice and their perspective. It's very, very important. Anyway, so tell me why you feel like serving in the community where you live is important.
Just to be a part of it. I mean, to understand what's going on, to understand what, like what you guys do. You know, before coming in here, I still don't know everything you guys do, but I have a little inkling of what you do, and I feel like that's how I give back. That's how honestly, with the business that we have in Payson, we love the community, and I feel like that's my way of giving back to this community that's supported us and helped our business grow. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
There is one thing I'd like to say. As LaDonna and I spoke, and we talked about this in depth somewhat, as much as you can in a half an hour, but we talked about her having to do the study part of it, so that the certification to be on the commission, and understanding what your role would be and some basics. And she had expressed to me she's ready to go through that training exercise that she'll need to do and be ready to function fully within a few weeks. So
Yeah. I love to learn. I love learning new things that I don't, obviously there's a lot I don't know, but that's.
I thought it was something, show me. Isn't that what the Missouri people always say?
Show me state?
Yep. State.
There you go.
Show me state.
There you go. Thank you.
Yep.
So with that, I would like to call for a vote, or a motion and a vote, and so that we can approve this appointment. I'm pretty confident of how we can move forward, so I would ask for a motion to move forward.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Councilman Hathaway.
Aye.
Councilman Sidaway.
Aye.
Councilman Adcock.
Aye.
Councilmember Montoya.
Aye.
It is unanimous.
And welcome.
So, since we have you here and you're in front of a microphone, which is really good, we are going to go ahead and swear you in.
Okay.
And by the way, to go along with Councilmember Montoya's comments, the candidate window is open until 5 p.m. tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't know that you're ready for you.
Britt, I'm not kidding. We need women.
Every 2 years, right? I have 2 years to think on this.
Yeah.
Okay. Will you raise your right hand? Do you, LaDonna Moak, solemnly swear that you will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of this state, and the laws and ordinances of the city of Santaquin? They will discharge the duties of your office with fidelity.
Yes.
Okay. You'll sign here.
Painless.
It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
I didn't even swear.
That's about how long it takes to sign up to be on this
Oh.
board. So.
Yeah. Easy peasy.
Okay.
Thank you, LaDon.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And we look forward to you serving on this planning commission, and, you know, the bites, bits, and pieces that you will be a part of with this. You'll find interesting challenges all the way.
I'm looking forward to it too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In our public forum, we only have one that signed up, and that's Wendy Osborne. Now, I think I was at MAG, and she was there a couple of months ago, and we talked about this, which I'm assuming you're going to talk about the same thing. So, well, no, actually, we were talking about a little more funding for stuff. So, anyway, you have a few minutes. Yes.
Thank you so much, Mayor, council members, and all of you. serving the community. Thank you for what you do for Santaquin City. So we appreciate you too. So Wendy Osborne, I'm the executive director of Tabitha's Way Local Food Pantries, and I just had a couple of announcements and then an ask, of course. So first off, Tabitha's Way is going to be hosting its annual backpack event. It's a free community event. It's where we give out brand new backpacks filled with school supplies for children in need. This year's event will be held July 29th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Landmark High School. We're inviting anyone in the community that is struggling and needs help for their kids to go, going back to school. If they need those supplies, they are free. Just come and we'll hook you up with a backpack. So wanted to let people know about that. If possible, we also wanted to ask the city if we sent maybe an electronic flyer, if you could maybe include this information in your city newsletter or helping us get this information out.
What if we put it on the website? I think that might be a better way to do it, a little easier way right now. We're trying to get a lot of stuff out there, and that might be the easiest way for us to do it.
Okay. Yeah, whatever's easiest. We just want to let as many people know about the event. There's a lot of people in need, obviously, right now in our community. And typically, in years past, we've had it at the fairgrounds in Spanish Fork, but apparently the Utah County Fair thinks that they need it more than us. So, enough
We
said.
know how you feel.
Yeah, look at the dates, and then look at the dates for our city celebration. You'll just have a tear. I know.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll segue right into the next question that I had. Well, actually, I'm going to provide a little bit more information in terms of context. So I would like to share just with the council members and your community kind of what we're seeing at Tabitha's Way. This last quarter, so the first quarter of this year, our Spanish Fork Pantry served 3,804 households, 13,974 individuals. That was an increase of 404 households and 1,743 individuals. And that's one of our pantries. Obviously, as we continue to see growth in our community, as families are continuing to struggle with inflation and housing, there's more and more people in our community that are in need. And our pantries are feeling that pain, I will say, that growth. One of the asks that I came here tonight was to ask if our local cities would consider, as part of your city celebration or as part of, the statewide Day of Service on September 11th, hosting a food drive. Logistics of that could be worked out later, but one of the things that we saw in our food pantries, even though we're serving more people, we actually saw, so it was 82,972 pounds less in food drives and 9,993 less pounds in fresh foods. So we're serving more people with less, and we're continuing to see exponential growth for our pantries. And so there's a tremendous need. But I believe we live in communities where people, when they are aware of needs, they respond. And so this is a shout out to ask the city if that's something they would consider having a discussion about, hosting maybe making it part of your annual. I know it's coming up real quick, it sounds like, for your city days, so it might be too late for this year, but maybe in the following years or maybe in September, considering hosting a food drive for a pantry to help us with these needs. And then we're also asking local businesses and citizens, right now's planting season, if we can accept fresh produce. All you farmers out here, I can kill a cactus. So if everybody's waiting for me to grow something, nobody's going to get fed. So if you would plant an extra row or bring your surplus, if you grow too many zucchinis or too many tomato plants, we can accept those fresh vegetables. And so please consider donating that to our food pantry. Your fruit trees, we can take it. Don't let those apples fall to the ground. Please bring them to our pantry. We desperately need those food donations.
Where's your point of contact for deliveries?
So you can go to our website, but if you just call our main phone number, but basically we receive deliveries anytime their pantry's open. But if you need a special delivery time, my phone number's on the website, or you can just call our pantry and just our main number, which is 801-709-8573. and we can arrange. We will. If you've got food, I will meet you there.
Will you
So-
repeat that, please?
So, yep, 801-709-8573. And we would just love your your produce. So,
So, are there any tools that, if a group in the city were to organize a food drive, are there any tools that you have that you would like us to use to like make
we
sure
would-
that people donating know where the
Yes.
donations are going?
yes, absolutely. Well, a couple of things. We like to plan and coordinate with you. We do have the tools. For example, we have large containers that can hold thousands of pounds of food. We have a box truck with a lift so we can pick up food because Santaquin's kind of a jaunt to Spanish Fork. We're happy to come pick up the food. We also have some flyers and some materials that talk about what are our most needed items, what things can we accept, when can we not accept, those types of things. So if the decision is made that you would like to host a drive, we would love to coordinate that with you so we can provide valuable information that will make the whole process smoother. We've got that part down.
That's great. So, I meet with our youth city council next time on Monday.
Okay.
And they are always looking for opportunities of service in our community.
Great.
And so I will present this to them, and then they can vote on it. And if it's something that they want to do, can I just contact you?
Yep.
And then after I let you know, I will probably have our youth mayor or another member be the one to take the lead and coordinate with you and then share information with me,
Wonderful.
so that they can be more involved
Mhm.
in the process.
Okay.
Would that be okay?
That would be wonderful. Would you like
so
my
I'll
cell phone
contact
number?
you next week.
Would you
What's
like my
that?
cell phone number?
Oh, sure.
Okay. It's 801-830-3951. And I'm a party of projects, so big tap at this.
Okay.
We have no shortage of projects, so if you're in need of a service project, think of Tabitha's. So
Okay.
anyway, thank you so much
I
for
will
your
be
time.
in touch next week.
Thank you all. Any other questions?
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll talk about it even more in the future. See
Yeah.
what we can do. Okay.
Yep. Okay. Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming.
Thank you for having me.
Moving on to the next thing, I'd like to have a review of the building permits and the business licenses. Anything new from last time and the way the year looks?
Yep. So year to date, calendar year wise, we're up to 65 new residential dwelling units. This is compared to 2022 when we were up to 203 at this point. I should say on that, before we had the two really high growth years of 2020 and 2021, we were kind of in the low to mid 200s. So we may be even a little bit less than that this year, but I don't know. We'll see how the second half of this year goes, and maybe we'll kind of get back up to where we were kind of averaging before the crazy growth came in those 2 years. Fiscal year wise, we're up to 115. This time last year, we were at 515. So you can see kind of the significant difference that we've experienced with economic conditions. Business license wise, there's quite a few business licenses there. I'm not going to read them all. Usually they're home occupations, but as you can see here, we actually have 3 commercial business licenses. One of them has been mentioned in the meeting already about the Aroma Cafe. There's a couple other commercial businesses related to screen printing and some mortgage services. The other home occupations a lot of them are service oriented as well. But anyways, that's the report for you, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about business licenses or building permits.
Does Monster Hardwood also refinish? Do you know?
I'm not quite sure of all what they do, but I think they're kind of a traveling hardwood floor installer. So
Just personally questioning, that's all.
Where's that address?
FB
I'm not quite
Boulevard.
sure. I'd have to look at that.
Fox
a bit closer.
Valley, Fox.
I'm sure that they abbreviated that just to make it fit on this form, but
But doesn't it need to be in Santaquin?
I think that actually might be Foothill Village, if I'm remembering right.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Foothill Village Boulevard.
Right.
I think it's Foothill Village Boulevard is what that is. It's abbreviated because
Yeah.
Okay.
of
The chart.
It's on the page.
Right.
The chart.
You know, to be honest with you, we're making headway. Things are moving a little bit now. We're starting to see some commercial changes, especially. But I am so glad a year ago we were looking at all of this stuff as to the effects that it would have on us fiscally. And we've made good decisions for over a year. So I like seeing this every time. I like to see what changes we'll have too.
And Mayor, if I may, this would be a great time to bring up and acknowledge the hometown market that's going to be starting at the end of this month. You know, that was something that, in coordination with the Payson Santaquin Area Chamber of Commerce, that creates a great opportunity and really a venue for our home occupation businesses to have a place where they can advertise and actually sell what they do. So that's something that we hope people will go out and see, and yeah, we're excited. I think this is the second year that it'll be doing it. It goes in conjunction with the concerts in the park in the summertime, and so I think it's a great thing to help with our home occupations. And our home occupations are between 70 and 80% of the businesses in our community. So hopefully home occupations can recognize the opportunity there, and we'd love to have a great event every Monday throughout the summer for those businesses.
What's the starting date on that?
Okay.
It's
The
the last Monday
26th?
of the month.
Yeah.
I think they said the 26th.
26, I believe.
Yeah.
20 what?
26th.
Okay, moving on to number 8, it's a resolution 601, the establishment of a fee for fee schedule for the city, and this has to do with and we did this last year, but this has to do with the ability for us to make sure that we can keep up with those services that we charge for and that we work with without having to go 10, 20 years down the line and go, wait a minute, we're not on top of it. We're trying to stay on top of what changes are happening. So have you all had a chance to go through this? I know we've talked about it in a couple of other meetings. Are there any questions that we need to have answered or that anybody's asked you about? So hearing no questions, I just feel, you know, Art made a statement. My daughter just say no to this. That tongue in cheek. Those are the kind of things that happen. But reality is, sometimes we have to face music, and we're doing that in a couple of fronts to make sure responsibly we're taking care of the needs of this city, every citizen as a whole. So that in mind, I would like to ask for a motion to accept Resolution 0601, the establishment of the fee schedule for the city.
So moved.
Been moved by Councilmember Montoya. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilman Sidaway. Councilman Adcock.
Aye.
Councilman Hathaway.
Aye.
Councilman Sidaway.
Aye.
Councilmember Montoya.
Aye.
Thank you. Then we'll move on to the PTIF account authorizations. And this has to do with every entity having to pony up to this, I guess.
So we
Public trust, so.
yeah, so this is where all of our funds are held with the state of Utah, the PTIF accounts and their interest-bearing accounts. But this just basically just gets us up to speed with those that are on staff that have the ability to make changes, et cetera, to those accounts.
Well, and our problem is we hadn't updated them for quite some time. So we do need to do this, make sure all the signatory gradations are in there and able for us to follow. So, any other questions on it? Then I would entertain a motion to accept these public trust account authorization with a motion.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And seconded. Councilman Adcock.
Aye.
Councilman Sitaway.
Aye.
Councilman Hathaway.
Aye.
Councilmember Montoya.
Aye.
Thank you. With that, let's move straight into the reports. Jason, do you want to start?
Yeah. So just a heads up of what's coming up on DRC and Planning Commission. For DRC, we did receive an application for an O'Reilly Auto Parts store. This would be on a piece of property that would be on the west side of Main Street, there by the LDS Stake Center. So we'll be looking at that site plan. There is also potential. We've received a request related to traffic control, but I think that's a council member brought up that they might allude to that in their reports. But we're looking to see if that's something that we need to take to DRC, or if it's something that we've already responded to that particular request in that particular area. That's DRC. For Planning Commission, we are planning to review the Parks, Recreation, Trails, and Open Space Master Plan. That was something that has been worked on for the past several months. This will need to be approved by the council eventually, but we take it to the Planning Commission because it's planning related, and so we'll get their recommendation on that plan. We also have a 2-lot preliminary final subdivision for the Griffin subdivision. This is the subdivision where the gentleman came and we had some good discussion about deferral agreements, and he was considering that. As you know, and as you approved last time, he did decide to go with a deferral agreement, so his subdivision is moving forward to the Planning Commission for approval because it's 3 lots or less. The Planning Commission is the land use authority there. The other thing we have is a public hearing, and this is basically the last report. Norm wanted me to report on this to the council so you know what's going on. We have a public hearing for a proposed code amendment. This is a proposal to amend the Planned Unit Development, or PUD, chapter or section of our code. This is something that I'm putting together. Essentially, what the proposed language will indicate is within our planned unit developments, there are density bonuses that are kind of, I use the term a la carte menu, that are laid out for developers to consider in order to get a density bonus. Usually it's providing amenities and things of that nature. However, with the state requirements related to moderate income housing, and due to the strategies that the city has chosen to meet that requirement, one of those strategies could be fulfilled if, as part of that PUD code, we provide make it possible for a developer to provide moderate income housing for a density bonus. So, and that would be something that we wouldn't just put out there, but we would want to have backed up by some sort of a deed restriction, so that the units that they deem as moderate income housing are truly moderate income housing. So that's a proposal that's being worked on, and which will move through the process. It's something that's coming at this time because August 1st is the deadline to prepare the report for that moderate income housing requirement, and that's something that I'm working on personally to make sure that we get that report done, that we meet the requirements. It's a big deal for all communities around the state because of the potential ramifications that the state has created if we don't meet that moderate income housing requirement. It could potentially disqualify us from receiving significant transportation funding through UDOT. So that's something that I wanted to introduce to you tonight. Obviously, it needs to go through the Planning Commission. After their recommendation, then it'll come to the council. But this is the beginning of the process for that. And if you have any questions or you want to talk more about this idea, this proposal, feel free to reach out to me, and we can talk through that, and you can know exactly what is being done in that proposal. So that is it for me tonight. I don't have anything more to report unless you have any questions for me.
Jason, do you want to mention the ARC meeting?
Yeah, so we did have an ARC meeting. Commissioner Adcock, or Councilmember Adcock, is on the ARC as well. Basically, it was approval for the Les Schwab business, which does have conditional approval from the DRC. This is a tire store business that would be located just a little north and east of where McDonald's is now being built. It's gone vertical in the past couple days. So that area right there. So they did get architectural, the architectural renderings were approved. So that's something that we could see moving forward, maybe even this year.
You're going to hear a lot of acronyms, and I was just going to say, sometimes when you say ARC, DRC, and you know that we have somebody that's new, there's probably a few people online that would go, wonder what that means. So DRC.
Yes, so, and I apologize for that. I actually go out of my way. I hate acronyms, but we get so used to some of these things. So DRC is Development Review Committee, a committee made up of really city staff, all the department heads, engineering, public works, police, fire, community development, engineering, and we meet the same days as Planning Commission, but we meet at 10 o'clock in the morning. That is a public meeting, and DRC has its role within our city code processes. ARC is Architectural Review Committee. We meet on an as-needed basis, and there's certain areas in the community that has architectural requirements that we review and make sure that they're meeting those requirements. And they're usually businesses and sometimes multifamily developments where there are specific architectural requirements because they're more visible and along major arterials of our city. Any other acronyms?
I just saw a blank look, and I just wanted to make sure, that it's okay sometimes to say, what does that mean?
Yes.
Because, it's a little code talking that they do, and you have to just keep them in check every now and again.
Well, I went out of my way to say plan unit development for PUDs, but yeah.
It's a whole alphabet soup, and we can provide you with a notepad so that you can take notes as you go along. I would highly suggest that.
Okay, thank you. Norm?
So, Jason, just to go along with what Jason's indicated, the moderate income housing requirement, you may recall, has 5 elements. We must meet 3 of those. We're already at 2, and this PUD that he's going to be bringing forward would be the 3rd one that we have to meet by August 1st. So in the next 60 days, less than 60 days, this will go to Planning Commission and then come to the council for approval. And it's something that we've already identified. He's just working on the wording. Shouldn't be anything super new to anybody, but it is just something that will help us to meet that requirement.
I was just going to say, in coordinating with the program manager for this state requirement, there may be the other 2. We may have already met those as well, or at least one of them with some recent projects that we did. So I think this first year, there's a little bit of flexibility that the state's having with this, and so some of the rezones, some of the projects that we've had where we've negotiated a development agreement and rezoned the property for higher density type things, I think we could get credit for that. So, like I say, I think this first year we've done a good job of making sure that we're getting the base requirements met, so that we're not going to run into any issues with getting funding for these transportation needs that we have.
Okay.
Okay, so Mayor and Council and new Planning Commission member, just so everybody's aware, this is the election season, and it's been open for 4 days now. It will close tomorrow at 5 p.m., and we have 6 candidates that have already signed up for office, for election. Those candidates are, and it's on the website, so I'm not sharing anything that's not out there. Lynn Meekum, Brian Meekum,
Brian Del Rosario.
Mr. Hathaway, David Hathaway. So 2 of those are incumbents at this point in time. Brian De Rosario, I'm probably butchering that name.
Del Rosario.
Thank you. We had a Travis Keel out of lives in Summit Ridge, and we have one more that is Michael Romero, who is a current Planning Commission member. So those are the 6 that have signed up for office, and I would anticipate that we might get a couple more. We typically see the last couple of days there's a little bit of an uptick in that, so we may see a couple more by the end of the day tomorrow. We might not see any. Just as a note, if we only have the 6 that we have now, or a total of 6 that go through, then we do not have to have a primary election. We would just have a general election in November. If we have 7 or more candidates after the 15th of this month, right? They have a few days that they can reconsider and check their sanity or whatever they want to do. But after the 15th of the month, that of June, that gives us the number that will be going forward. And so if we have 7 or more, then we would need to have a primary. So that primary would be in the middle of August, and then 15th, and then well, that's in the middle. And then a general election in November. So that give everybody an update on that, and that's where we stand. I did want to bring up, we got our first report, our month report from X Factor, who is helping us with our and I don't know why that is not working, with our public information campaign that we've been doing to get the word out there about the potential property tax increase. I'm going to zoom in a little bit on here, and you guys can kind of see this. There's a lot of information here, but as far as the analytics are concerned, which some of the members of the council wanted to see, and we made some goals going into this with X Factor about what we would be anticipating. The Facebook reach has gone up about 34% in this first month, from May 1st to June to May 31st. The Instagram reach has gone up about, and these are clicks or likes or visits or whatever happens to be for each of these individual items. New Instagram followers, there's new Instagram followers, there's new Facebook followers. As far as the visits, again, up 14%, up 37% on page and profile visits. As far as the web analytics are concerned, we have had a huge uptick in 819 visits more this month than we had last month, just on that one page that we've created for the potential property tax. So you know that we have a dedicated page that has all the frequently asked questions, all of the videos, all of the other things that have been put out there so that we can have the right information out there. This is a direct result of that, as we've had 819 more web visits to that page compared to the other pages on the website during that month of May. I apologize again, I'm probably going through this too quickly, but we sent out an email to almost 7,500 recipients. We know for through the analytics that more than, or a little bit less than half of those were opened. 113 of those that were opened clicked onto one of our links to take them to the web page, or to take them to a informational, the roadmap, the other stuff that we have out there on the information. We did have a few that have bounced, but out of that many, that's not about 10% bounce. That's probably a pretty minimal bounce rate when you have considered we've been growing that email list of 7,500 people for probably years and years. Again, open rates, click rates on those. We did have quite a few that were reached. We know that they were delivered. And I will be happy to share these 2 pages that I have with you. I just got them today about 4:30, so I haven't had time to get them out there, but I will be happy to share these with you.
Send it to all of us.
I will, yes, sir. I'll send that to all of you as soon as the meeting's over tonight. To go along with that, there's some written analytics that are there. Again, the city's reach on the Facebook page has increased by 3,240 users in May compared to the previous month. The city's Instagram page is experiencing over 100 increased in reach. Visitations on the city's Facebook page have increased 37%, as we've said. Instagram saw 13.9%. Again, website analytics are indicating that there's a remarkable 85% increase in new users. Again, just going to that new web page that we've created that's a sub-page of our cover page. And another remarkable thing is that the landing time, is what they call it, is a minute and 18 seconds. That seems like a very short period of time, but in the real world, in analytics and in people visiting web pages, that's about double the time that somebody would normally spend on a web page that they have never been to before. So again, we believe that we put the information out there. We're trying to help people understand. We're trying to get the right information out there, and I believe that this shows that we are doing just that. new users. We do have a little bit of a when they talk about this bounce rate, this is meaning that they did not go to another. In other words, they didn't go to our cover page, or they didn't go to the recreation page, that type of thing. The open rate on the email analytics is again quite high. The first ever campaign that we've done this is about a 52%, and again, that's about double what normally people open website, or not websites, but emails that they don't have never seen before. I will share with you that the text analytics look a little bit skewed. The problem with the text analytics is that we don't really have a great analytical tool for that, because the texting that we use is through our Everbridge program, which is through the county. We don't have all the back end data on that. We only have a limited amount of data that we have, but still reaching, 5,500 recipients in the city that have signed up, that are within our service area. So again, I will provide this, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Not that I'm a great knowledgeable person on analytics, but I believe that we're accomplishing what we set out to accomplish, and that was to inform. Again, the mayor's chats, he's going to have 3 of those. Remind you of the open house that we will have on the 27th of July in this room, and the property tax will be considered at a vote by the council on August 1st in this room. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have about that or any other items tonight.
Okay, thank you, Norm. Just good thing to just keep reading on it, finding if there's anything that we're missing. That's the most important thing. Let's make sure we're covering everything, understanding, and if there are questions that we have of ourselves, if we don't know something, let's get that out so we can get a hold on it. Okay? Councilman Hathaway, have anything?
Yeah, a few things. I want to give say it again, a shout out to the RAP Tax Committee. We met on the 25th, and I thought it went really well, and we're going to cover a lot of things with that amount of money. So I thought that went really well. I have and Norm gets to go to Sumwa Thursday night over in Spanish Fort.
Could you describe what that acronym is?
Yeah, right? Norm, would you like to do that?
The South Utah Valley Water Municipal Water Agency.
Yep.
Yes.
And then, of course, Monday morning me and Norm also has the Mountain Eagle Water agency meeting. And then I just want to give a shout out to you, the mayor, for me, one of the things that I was concerned about with this tax thing was that we were only going to have basically one open meeting for the people. I just want to say thank you for you coming up with wanting to do 3 for the people to be able to come and pick your brain a little bit. Because I think the more the better. So that's just me, my opinion.
You know what? We've been working on this for over a year.
Right.
There's nothing that I'm aware of that we're not preparing ourselves for, and haven't looked behind the door and hidden in the closet, whatever. So.
Well, yeah. I just want the citizens to understand that the opportunity, if you're really concerned, the door's been open now to times to come and ask those questions. So I hope they do.
Me too.
Yep.
Councilman Sitaway.
I don't have anything. We already talked about the 5K in the work meeting. That's really the only thing I went to in the last couple of weeks. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Councilman Adcock.
Well, last week we had a Memorial Day program at the city cemetery, and I want to make sure to thank the Garden Valley Pipe Band, Madison Carter, who's the daughter of the her mom runs the flower shop on Main Street. And especially she was our vocalist, and Keith Broadhead for always providing the sound system that allows everybody to hear us. The Saturday prior to that, we had a very successful fundraiser in front of Macy's, which is our only source of income, and allowed us to pay the bills that we incurred. Having names permanently engraved on the wall for the veterans that are buried in the cemetery. And I asked the monument people to engrave the date on the back of that big monument stone where the names of the donors are, the date that the monument was dedicated, which was July 4th, 2005. So that date's permanently there for the future. I appreciate the public's total patriotic support of our effort on our fundraiser the Saturday prior to Memorial Day. We live in a very special area with some very special, very generous, patriotic people.
Thank you. Councilmember Montoya.
So, the fire department Memorial Day breakfast was very well attended. I was there from 7 to 11 with members of the U City Council who were helping, and we bus tables. I have on blue gloves just like they do, and we bus tables and clear garbage and take out garbage bags when they're full and mop up messes. And I think the community really appreciates that tradition and the effort that goes into that. And it's not a money-making activity. It's an activity to bring the community together. And so thanks to everybody who helped with that and the community members who attended. And then the U City Council also that week, pardon me, held a special movie night for first responders and their families. And this was the first time doing that, and none of us really knew what we were doing. But we did have a few families who showed up and really appreciated the thought and the effort. And a huge, huge thank you to Hattie Robury. It was a ton of work for her to learn how to set up the screen and the sound system. And because of the weather, we moved it from the park into the fire bay. And so to load up her car and drive everything over there and get water and treats to share, and for Ryan Lind, Chief Lind, offering to let us hold it in the fire bay, and then saving our bacon with the video and audio because it was not working. And I looked down and I said, I don't think that this HDMI cable should be wiggling. And that was a big part of the problem. So he was very helpful there, and Hattie really jumped through a lot of hoops and just was amazing. She's fantastic with the youth and to help all these activities happen that they want to do. And so that was really fun. And just a thank you to the officers in the police department. My understanding is that in the last month there have been several trainings that Chief Hurst has said you will be there, and just the rabies and vaccination and licensing clinic and all the extra things that they don't have to do, but they do in order to improve their skills and their training and to provide service to our community. So I acknowledge and appreciate that. The U City Council also helped today with the library summer reading kickoff party over at the library, and John already mentioned about that. They had face painting and hand printing, and I did story time, and it was a blast. So the Youth Council has been really busy, and I will look forward to moving ahead, hopefully, with the experiential design plan for the museum, and we are continuing to look for funding opportunities for the library as well. And then there's the email that we received from the resident on 200 West who said that the speed trailer had been out there, but it really doesn't seem to make a difference. So I would like to know if we can please find out or let the public know what the protocol is for requesting a stop sign at an intersection, what that process is, and that there is a committee when an application comes in or a request comes in. There's a committee that reviews those, the police chief and the fire chief and the city manager, and I think Jason, you're on there too.
All the DRC.
So just to inform and educate members of the public about what the process is, how they can go about requesting something like that, and what other measures are available to address the issue. It's not the only area in town that has a lot of speeding. My street has a lot of speeding. So it is a concern, and I just would like to discuss that for a minute.
You would like to discuss it right now?
Well, just to share with the resident what potential options there might be and what the process is if she and her neighbors want to get together and request a stop sign somewhere along that road.
So if it's the same area that I believe it is, we actually considered this just within the last 90 days, 120 at the most. We've already considered that. And the area at the time we were studying it for, the speed trailer couldn't be put out during the winter time because it gets hit by cars sliding off of the road.
Sure.
And so that has been
Because they're
considered.
going too fast?
I don't know the answer to
I'm
that.
just curious.
Probably too fast for conditions, but there is a process in place. They're more than welcome to send an email into to office@santaquin.org. We do consider those. If I remember correctly, there is one that was submitted just several months ago, and I don't remember whether we acted on that or whether it was.
We discussed it.
Did we act on it and
No.
or did we decide we were going to be putting the trailer out?
So my recollection is this particular area was actually a while ago, like a year ago, and I think we did act on it. We were discussing it amongst DRC members via email, and I think we're remembering that we talked about these particular intersections and the request for a stop sign there. I know we've talked about it, and I think we did act on it a while ago. So this is a request that we get, and the DRC looks at it from a very technical standpoint. Engineering obviously has the MUTCD that talks about where stop signs and that are appropriate. Speeding, generally speaking, what we tell people is MUTCD does not indicate that stop signs control speeding. Enforcement or speed trailers or things of that nature can help with that. So that's one of the things that we've looked at, and I think this particular area we've looked at. That's why in my reports I'd indicated that we're looking into that. We do communicate with any requests that we get, whether it be here's the process and here's the DRC. We expect that we'll be discussing it and looking at it. Sometimes it's delayed a little bit before it gets on there because we'll have the police put the trailer out there to collect some data. We don't want to just look at it
Right.
and not have anything to go off of. So that's the process. And we do take every request and react to it. But in this case, we may have already looked at that particular area, and we could probably refer them to the recording or the meeting that we had on that. But if not, we need to look into that to make sure that this is the exact same request that was made.
So would you
in the
like me
past.
to forward the email to you?
So I think we already have it.
No, I've already sent it to everybody.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So this is something that we've already started on seeing whether it should move forward to DRC or not.
One thing on that study we're talking about, and it's actually a discussion that happened that was probably only 3 to 4 months ago, and that was actually 1 block north of this particular home. And that was one that we couldn't take action on for various reasons. And I've sent all of this information to Chief Hurst and then met with him personally today, and we talked about things we could do. Where it's stated in there that there's absolutely nothing out of that speed trailer, there actually is a bunch of data. That data is now being pulled and analyzed. I forget who he told me was going to work on that, but they're
Officer Shepard usually.
Yeah, that's
all that.
yeah. So we're getting all of that rather than just shoot from the hip here. We're going to make sure that we have all the data put together and know what we're talking about, and especially take a look at it. There are recommendations also that come through the police department as they get there. So I'm just going to tell you, and maybe this will go out to the public, but I asked the chief if he would do a personal study and maybe run radar on there, and not that we want to even look like we're trying to get revenue as she suggested in that letter. I won't do that. But
No, I
what
think
we
she's
will
being
do, what we
facetious.
will do is we will do radar, and we will find out if there's a traffic problem. And we discussed what kind of vehicles, the big trucks. You know, you put a stop sign right there, as she's asking, and then all of a sudden we start getting all of these requests. Why do we have to listen to these diesels stopping and then going through the gears in our front lawn? And there are a lot of things that need to be studied here, and I believe it's on the right track. And we should be able to take it at this point and go, okay, here's what we see as a solution, or we're going to nip it in the bud by all of a sudden a bunch of guys getting tickets. And maybe that was the solution before, but I do never want to tell our police, you go out and get some tickets. They're great revenue generators. I never want to say that. I didn't say that right now because I don't want it. But if people are breaking the law, you know, we need to take care of it, especially as a safety concern. So Chief Hurst knows that. Mike knows that now. But I know that Officer Shepard is pulling that data, so we have that data to go by. And that's
Right.
going to give us a stronger stance on we're following through. When she first wrote about this, we got on it and decided the trailer was where we needed to be. We had some issues. It was out. We moved it around, and we found that we had a problem with it, and it's getting fixed. But there was data generated, and I think that's where we need to be at this point.
Which is why, again, I said that there's a process to those requests so that they're not made on personal decision or personal friendships or relationships. I don't know who this resident is, but the reason that we approved putting that process in was so that decisions like that are based on data and not on politics and not on human emotion. And so I can just see where residents are coming from when they make facetious statements like was made in her email, because that comes out of frustration. So if a resident doesn't feel like the issue is being addressed the way that they want it to be, they become frustrated. And so that's why I was just suggesting that maybe we could inform anyone who's listening that there is a process to requesting these types of things, and that they're based on national standards and they're based on the data that is collected and received.
Yeah, again, the best way to do that is office@santaquin.org. That's
Great.
Because if it goes to you and we never see it, I didn't know that this even existed until the mayor had forwarded it to me. So that just indicates that yes, we do get it, and we do talk about it, and we do react. And as Jason indicated, if somebody makes a specific request, they are invited to come and attend DRC when we have that discussion. They're like an applicant, as it were, for a subdivision, even though it's not a subdivision.
That they're welcome to attend
They are
in person.
welcome to attend. That rarely happens.
Right.
But
it's good for them to know, because most residents don't know that.
Right.
They don't know what the process is.
Right.
They don't know what the email is. They don't know that the decision is based on national standards and data. They don't understand.
But we
They,
do
it's the same thing with the tax issue. I know I haven't had Facebook for over a year. I deleted my account well over a year ago. But I hear from people saying, I read on Facebook that the money for the tax proposal isn't even going to the public safety. It's going into the general fund.
Who wrote it?
Why are they saying that? It's because they don't understand the process. So those things like the alphabet soup that we're familiar with and we take for granted, regular residents don't understand that process. And most of them, when they have an issue, they do want to learn. Some of them just want to be angry. But I think that it's important to remember that education makes a big difference. And I didn't know anything about this either until the resident sent all of us an email a few days ago. So the data that is being reviewed and all that kind of thing, the tone that I got from the email was not malicious. It was frustrated. And because I have a lot of speeders on my street, I can understand that frustration. But I know what the process is. Not everybody else does. So if they're feeling like their last resort is to email the elected leaders and express their frustration, that's their right to do so, right?
Sure.
But education, I think, and information empowers people. So just for them to learn about the process, they may not like the process, they may not agree with the process, but to even learn that there is a process that's not based on politics, I think is very important. So that's why I brought it up. And that's all I have.
Okay.
Mayor,
Yeah.
I forgot one. Can I give one more?
Yeah, sure.
So last week I had the opportunity to go up to Ogden to the Rocky Mountain Pro Rodeo Association dinner. And of course, Santaquin again won the rodeo of the year. And I just want to give a shout out to, of course, everybody that's involved with our rodeo every year, to the staff, to the rec department, to everybody involved. So I think it's nice that the Cowboys vote. It's because it comes from them. So I think it's a big deal. So anyway, it was nice.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's cool that we've done that so many times. I hope that we are poised to do it again. I don't know what it really takes. When they invited me to go up, I couldn't make it, and I wished I would have been there. I'm glad you did go, and that is a big good thing that happens here. Okay, there's a couple of things. I wanted to talk a little more about taxes and just say, first off, Jeff wrote a very good letter that went to Norm. Norm and I took a deep look into it, discussed many of the issues, but all of those answers went back to Jeff, I think, in a way that I think answered the questions that you had. Those I think we should share with everybody on the council too, because most of the questions really had to do with the new city hall. Now, when three of us came into the council a year and a half ago, we inherited this. Those three of you that were already here knew more about it than we did. And so we're trying to get up to speed on it. And even though we've inherited, my direction was, I'm going to do everything I can to make this successful. And we've looked at a whole bunch of things through the year, and certainly we have come up with some major ways that we can look at even funding the library, which is going to be a shell when we get the building. And I don't know anywhere in even all those questions with that somebody understood, no, we're not moving the library into the building, and no, it's not going to be finished. It's going to be a shell. There's some wiring in there, certainly not finished wiring. There is no sheetrock in there. There is a shell of a building in which we should be able to develop an educational center, which goes beyond a library. And my hope is that we can just keep on task, look at what we're doing, and assure and ensure to us that these taxes are not general fund taxes that anybody's going to grab and it just disappears in this big black hole, as some may surmise that the road funds did. Well, the road funds didn't. They've gone beyond their expectation from 10 years ago. 10 years ago, yeah. 10 years ago. And this will do the same for the police and the fire. And that is the only place that this money is going to go. And one of the things, I got a really good phone call yesterday, and a friend of mine, he says, I've read all the way down through this, and I just need to be clear. These funds are perfectly set for just the fire and the police, right? They can't be used for anything else, right? And this is the whole determination. This is the driver behind it that is justified with wages and with the police vehicles that we do need to support and maintain. So I believe we just need to make sure if there are any issues that lie out there that we can address them, understand them, answer a question, certainly with the building, know and understand the bond, what's happening, you know, is there a great big overrun? And what was the overrun that we talked about in that? Do you remember, Jeff? Was it something? Oh, was it 0.34%?
Oh, yeah, right now, 0.33.
0.34%.
Yeah, 50,000.
35,000.
Yeah.
And we were expecting 225. And so we're actually under what we were
Way
projecting
under.
the overrun.
Yeah, in a contingency, which is placed in there generally with a build or bond or even a grant that you get. There are contingencies that are built within that. So
Yeah.
I think bringing that up, making sure that we're clear, making sure that this building isn't tied to all of that, which has nothing to do with it. The previous administration had approved this. It moved forward. And all we're trying to do is make sure all of the legal documentation, the bonds, the payments, and everything else fall into the alignment that was prescribed. And I think we've done a very good job with that. Our expectation of where we believe we're going, even with the end of the year coming in the next 3 weeks, we've got to finish up our budget for this year and be prepared for where we go, even though we have the truth in taxation that we're in the middle of, okay? I wanted to just say a couple of other things. I want to pass these. These are a couple of layouts for where McDonald's will be and where Les Schwab will be and where the two auto parts stores, AutoZone and O'Reilly's, will be, and you can just take a look at it and kind of see what their layout is. Everything isn't finalized and approved. However, McDonald's is well underway. The building's going up. You know, it's looking like a Big Mac. I don't know. So that's really good. I wanted to give you a little update on the trails. The Forest Service requires a form which is called a NEPA, and it's an environmental protection evaluation of where a trail's going, especially on their property, and they're allowing us to have right-of-ways that will go from one of our properties to another. And so these NEPA, they're about 90%, and we expect that. The only reason it hasn't finished up is the last guy that needs to take a hike on the trail can't find where the trail was that the previous guy from the Forest Service marked. So they're asking us if we would go up and help them. So we'll go up on their property and show them where it needs to go. The trails are moving along, and the last page on that is a map of the trails that we have and are going, and you'll notice there's two right above the parking lot that aren't quite matched, and my Mini X is sitting right there trying to close that loop. And as soon as we do, I'm going to move it up to the pipeline where we're going to take a section of the pipeline and move it into the museum. And we're trying to make sure that we can get that piece excavated out without digging the mountain apart, but also without tearing apart the pipeline, since it's wood and has wire windings on it, and it's quite a piece of art anyway, so we'll see what we can do. The fences that go, separate us from the U.S. Forest Service on both the north and the south, we have built bridges. They're metal bridges that we can put together with some bolts that'll actually allow a bicycle to ride over them without having to tear the fence apart. And we can actually bolt them on site, so we don't have to take big equipment to haul them in, anything else. We'll take them apart, go up there, and we'll actually cement two of the posts into the ground to hold them solid. So I think that plan is all done and ready to go. As soon as I can get the Mini X dug for the next 150 yards, we'll be in good shape. Yesterday, I had some citizens give me a doggy stand, one of those things with the bags on it that you can pick up dog poop and haul it home where you came from with your dog. And they have been up to the dog park, or up to the Prospector View Bike Park, but they're turning it into a dog park where they just turn their dog loose and let him go do his stuff and then come back. And it's kind of a problem out at Harvest View because they do the same thing on the grass out there, and then our kids go play soccer on it, and it's an issue. But we now have one of those doggy stands that you can pull the little green bag out and take it home. Lucky you. And so it's actually bolted on the concrete apron of the toilet, a very fitting place, but you know, that's where it is. The bridge is still a couple of weeks out. We don't want to do anything until we've got that water down a whole lot more. And at 140 cubic feet per second, we're still way over 4, almost 5 times a normal flow of a high water at the high water time. So I just want to remind you, and probably everybody in town, we are fighting something that is 5 times greater than a normal year, now almost entering the second week of June. And you don't even know what's going on around for the most part. We've got it mostly in pipes and being irrigated and taken out with an excavator and changed the head gate. And he is honestly a farmer on a big excavator, and it's made a big difference all the way around. There are going to be discussions that go forward, and I know that we've got a few farmers that aren't happy. But, you know, I didn't bring the snow here. I know I prayed for it. And I didn't bring all the water down at once. And we all prayed for that. But, you know, we're trying to find how we can help even our neighbors. And there may be some farmers that we have to find ways that we can help them out to mitigate the problems that they had to put up with. You know, I don't want to turn around and sue somebody because we now have roads that are all torn apart, but the government is opening a way with these funds for disaster relief that may help us in a few cases. If not, we're into this well over $1 million or $500,000, and we've got to find a solution for it, you know, and we're trying to get our way through this. There's a couple of other things. The parking lights, I talked to John. We're going to try to get those located and then ready to put in as soon as we can get some sonotube and pour them and get them set in. They're solar, and so that's going to make that a little more friendly area. But I think everybody needs to review where those lights are and what the best value is for us, and maybe get a new camera that goes up there so that everybody that turns a donut in our parking lot, we can identify and take them to court. And would you prepare to just take them to the end of the... I'm so sick of them. They were spinning donuts while I was digging on my Mini X, and there was nothing I could do other than maybe throw a big rock off the mountain and hope it would roll down and hit them. But they were spraying my truck. They were spraying my truck with that roto mill, you know. So we'll put a camera up there alongside the others that we already have, and we're going to find these buggers. Okay?
Better than the rock. Yes.
Thank you, Brad.
I actually thought about it, but, you know, I'm a little more calm than that. I had a bunch of calls over the weekend, and the three stakes are discussing a major 9/11 service project. They want to put 1,000 or better people to work for the day doing a service project. The call I got, first off, that was the first that surprised me before I talked to the other two stakes, was from Summit Ridge. There were two men out there that I know that called and said, do you have a place where we can put 1,000 people to work? I said, well, 1,000, that's a big dream. You know, I'm not sure we have enough flower seeds that you could plant that would help out. And he said, no. Is there something big enough that we could work on? Could we come out and put 1,000 people and work on your trails? We've already got 7-8 miles of trails way underway. You could easily put 1,000 people to work for 2 hours and do more than what we have done almost in a year, as long as it was put together. The thing is, I don't want to say, Norm, would you take care of that? This may be one of those things where, you know, I love the project, and if anybody else wants to join me, maybe we'll put it together. 2 of the 3 stakes suggested that. One other stake didn't know what to do. And so at this point, it's wide open, but they want to know, is there a project big enough that 1,000 people could go to work on it for a day? And you know me, I like the idea of the bike park, but I also have a lot of ribbon. I have a lot of places to go, and if I had people with just a pair of pruners, I could go a mile or 2 or 3 or 4 without any trouble. But can you look at that? Are there discussions or any thoughts you want to share? I wished I could say, go clean the cemetery, but the guy that does the cemetery work, I wish he was the employee of the year. That was absolutely beautiful how he did that this year, and he does a good job. I'm sorry, I don't even know his name, but he is amazing. The attention to detail that he has done up there. But I'm off track a bit. Anyway, if you don't have a suggestion, I may just move forward and say, hey, you guys want to go to work? I'll put you to work. But I would really like some help. And that might mean you're going to have to come up and figure it out with me. But we've got some great things going on up there. That park, we really haven't invested anything out of the coffers to get this thing going, and that was the promise up front. I just feel like that's one place. If there's somewhere else, let's do it. And you know, I just want to do this for the city, but that many people, shoot, I hate to lose that many volunteers. That's too many to not grab. So I don't have anything else. Sorry I took it another 15 minutes, but I felt we needed to be into the 9 o'clock hour. Oh, Art, you're going to do it.
I am. Sorry. Last time we met, we talked about on June the 20th, before our meeting, we were going to tour the building. Have we got a time set for that, or is that still got a plan?
June 20th at 5:30
Okay. Meet where?
at the building.
Okay.
The new building.
On the north side, just if you'd park either in front of the old junior high or in front of the library on the other side, not right in front of the library, but west of the library.
Okay.
That would be good. We'll meet there at 5:30.
Thank you.
Norm.
Also, Emily brought something to my attention that I forgot to mention. ULCT conference in September. I believe you've got an email about that. Please get your information to Emily so that we can get those registrations done for you if you plan to attend, please.
Any other things? Then I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
It's been moved, second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passes.